What up? We are back, yo. So today we are going to do a follow-up to our podcast of I Want to Know Who I Am. And so I wanted to bring Taylor back. Well, Taylor's my co-host anyway. But Taylor, tell us, the people, how did it go, or how is it going with you trying to find out who you are as a young woman, as a person, as my daughter, and wanting to know who your family was? For those of you that did not catch on to the other podcast, I was adopted when I was pretty young. And so I grew up with my biological family for a little bit until I was about 10 or 11 years old, but I was in a lot of different foster homes. And so since that time, I have not kept in touch with them because I had some pretty traumatic experiences with them on my mother's side. So I don't keep in contact with them at all. And so Taylor was very curious of like who she was as a person. And, you know, she wants to know like her background and things of that nature, which I encouraged her to do, but I didn't want to be a part of it. But I will be there to help pick up the pieces if that's what needs to be done. And on my father's side, my father was murdered when I was a kid, so I didn't know his family either. And, you know, I didn't know a lot of his family. Some of my people on my father's side have been really, really dope people and really good people, but I don't know like the depths of like who my grandmother is or, you know, his siblings. I don't know that kind of stuff. I have some cousins that I do know that were on my father's side and a couple of uncles, but not like in depth. So Taylor wants to know in depth who she is as a young woman. So T, tell the people, how has your search been going?
You guys are gonna be disappointed, but the search has halted. Just because I I think what I realize is there's just a bit of disconnect in what I want versus what I think other people kind of want. And maybe not even that, but it's just like I think what I'm coming to understand now is people want to talk about more stuff than I may be asking about at the time. And I just have to give myself a little bit more patience and then a little bit more impatience as well, because this is my first time in 22 years I'm talking to anybody. So it's just like they're going to have a little bit more information or just lead me astray from some details that I'm like, tell me now, tell me now. But I mean, but I think that's just kind of deterred me a little bit, just because I need to refocus and learn that I need to have just a little bit more patience with how the journey is coming along because it's not really coming along.
So you haven't gotten any information at all from anybody?
I mean, I've gotten, not really.
So
Like
what do you do?
I really wanted to see a picture of my grandfather and a picture of my grandma. So, because I really want to know what I look like. And like, I know you could have that one picture of your dad and you when you were little. But I mean, other than that, first, that's a blurry picture. And then second, the other ones we've seen is like blurry as well. So it's just, I don't know. I think where I get frustrated is like, I know y'all have these pictures. Why won't y'all send them to me? You know? So I guess that's
Well,
what
see,
it
I do
is.
wonder that. I mean, I wonder if they do have the pictures because I've only seen like 2 or 3 pictures of my dad, like for real. Like I really don't really, I know what he looks like, obviously, but I've only seen like 2 or 3 pictures of him. So maybe it is a case where they don't have the pictures, or are they saying that they do have them and they just haven't sent them?
Right. So if that was the case, if they didn't have them, then don't tell me you have them. Then not tell them to me for over a month. You know, I think that's what I'm saying. Like, I think as I've gotten older, it's just if you say something, I'm gonna hold you to that. So if you say that you're gonna look for the pictures and it's going on months and months and months and we still haven't found said pictures, either tell me you can't find them or let me know like, hey, but just give me some honest truth. Because I feel like that's what we're missing a lot of the times, like in families and stuff, is truth and honesty. And especially now, I want to go about this process as honest as possible. And it's just hard when people aren't cooperating how you feel they should be cooperating.
And I think I may have asked you this before, and I know the answer to this, but what made you decide that that's what you wanted to do, that you wanted to reach out and you wanted to find out who your people were?
Honestly, after you took your was it 23andMe, that test, whatever
Yes.
test you took, um, and you got the results you got. I was just sitting there like, what the heck? And I think it brings another element to it once you think about how it's easy to, well, I wouldn't say, well, I guess it is kind of easier for me to trace my mom's background because I know my granddaddy, I know my grandmother, I know my aunts, uncles, I know like my blood relatives. I've been to Martinique, I met my great grandma. I, so it's just, I don't know. I guess when I start comparing, it just gets frustrating as well. Like, I just want to know, like, who am I? Because I guess it's just so easily handed to me on my mom's side. Not easily handed to me. I don't know. It's just, it's like it's an interesting process, I guess, in itself. But I just wanted to know who I am, who I look like, where do I get my eyes from, where do I get my light skin from, like who am I built like, So who do I act like? I know I have some anger issues like both my grandparents, but I just want to get the full experience. I know I can't get it fully through them because they're deceased, but if I have family members that I can speak to who are present and alive today, then give me the information.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think there's maybe some of it, and I'm guessing, and I could be totally off because I don't talk to them like that, but I don't think that it was like, I think that most of it was pretty traumatic. Like the experiences were traumatic. I mean, the picture that I have of my dad, my dad literally has an eye patch on from when my mom like stabbed him in the eye or something like that. So, I don't know if that's what happened, but I know they were fighting and my dad had a patch over his eye. So, it's just things like that maybe people don't want to relive that. I'm sure that there's probably some good stories out there, but I only heard about the bad ones, unfortunately. So I don't really have much to go off of. I wish that I could give you more information. I wish I could help you out, but I really don't know myself. And, at this point in my life, I'm 48 years old. I'm like, I'm all right with that. I don't have any health issues besides high blood pressure that was passed on to me. But other than that, though, I'm not in search of those answers. But, as I told you before, I always want to make sure that I respect that about you. And if that's what you want to do, I'll be there for you to hold your hand throughout the entire process. But I'm not yearning for that information like that anymore. I used to when I was younger, but now that I'm a grown man, it's like I spend my energy on my kids. I spend my energy on my relationship, on building my relationship with you guys. So I don't really worry. I don't think about it like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yes. And I think you just put into perspective for me as well. Like the things that you lived through were pretty traumatic. So I can only imagine like being a family member or a bystander and witnessing the things. And I don't know. And then having to bring them up again when I ask about it. That would probably be hard. So, at the end of the day, I think the N word for me is grace. I have to give myself grace and also my family members grace who have to again relive all the traumatic stuff they went through and experienced. And like you said, my granddad was shot. He was murdered. My grandma passed away over time, like dramatically her health decreased. So it's just like all of that can be pretty traumatic for people. And situations like you and your brother, your sister, traumatic for people to relive, think about, and also like think about what they could have done and reliving that as well. I feel like it's probably something that they're probably struggling with because I feel like, I don't know, me personally, I feel like somebody could have stepped in. But again, we can talk about that, but I want to be able to talk about it and like open up the conversation. But I can't, for me, it just seems like I can't really get that far yet.
No, that makes sense. And I think that you're doing it right now in this podcast is actually, you just kind of did some reframing of like, dang, I didn't really think about it like that. Like maybe they are going through some stuff that they don't want to relive. So yeah, giving yourself grace, giving them grace, I think that is really, really important. So great job of looking at it from a different perspective. So I still definitely encourage you to do it. If that's what you feel like is missing, then definitely do it. Still keep on going. And, you never know what you're going to find out. And, like I said, I'm here and I will help you. Go ahead.
I kind of just wanted, I just wanted to touch on, like you said, missing. to my family who I love and adore, especially my Colbert family, I don't want y'all to think like, oh, she's trying to replace us, because I know I love my aunties, my uncles, my granddad, my grandma to death. Like, that's not a problem. But it is at the same time, like, I would also like to find out, my biological family. But
Do you
you
think
guys,
that
I don't
people would
know.
really have issues with that? Did you think that somebody would have an issue with that?
At first I did, yes, but I had to call like your siblings and like explain how I was feeling, what I wanted to do, and how I wanted to go about it, and they understood at the end of the day. So that kind of made me feel better. But it's just like I don't know, I don't want people to just listen to this and be like, "Oh, are we not enough for her?" Because that's not what it is at all. No, for real, because I feel like some people would be like, what the heck? And that's not what I'm trying to portray, put out in the air. Like, don't take it to heart. But I do want to know about my biological family,
Yeah,
not out of any
I think
malicious intent.
I don't think. I
No.
mean, I've actually heard some family members, not about you in particular, but that we have a family member that like did 23andMe and find out some stuff that she had been told all of her life that were not true, that wasn't true. And through that experience that she was going through, I did hear people say things like, "Well, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to find that out? Why would you?" People want to know. So yeah, I mean, your feelings are valid. That's definitely valid. I understand where you're coming from, and like I told you before, I'm your protector. So if anybody got a problem, holler at her daddy. So, T,
Yeah.
thank you so much, baby girl, for opening up. And I do want to continue to encourage you on this journey of yours about finding out like who you are, because it's important to you. So if it's important to you, it's important to me. So I will assist in any way that I can. But when you find them people, don't give them my phone number. You better not. You better not give nobody my phone number. No, ma'am. Y'all don't understand the things that I got put through, man. For real, it was traumatic. Like for real. So yeah, don't give nobody my number. But I'll help you out from a distance, though. I will. I promise. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate you. We love y'all. Be good to yourself. Keep doing your thing. Keep smiling. Keep shining. And you are dope. Absolutely. Let's go.